Hello friends, Koolio here, and welcome back to the channel. Today guys, we are finally jumping in and getting a chance to play Warhammer Odyssey. This is one of my most hyped games of the year, and it just went into soft launch a couple of days ago. Now, I was initially going to post a video a lot earlier. I've put in probably about 3-4 hours into the game so far. However, there really hasn't been a lot of information from the development team on whether or not the game is like soft launched, whether there was like some kind of weird NDA, because I heard reports and stuff of people like posting videos and then the videos getting taken down and live streams getting taken down and stuff like that. So it's been a little bit weird, but my overall enjoyment of the game has actually been pretty pleasant. I do have a couple of little issues and stuff with the game so far, a couple of concerns that we'll talk about once we get into the video. But if you guys enjoyed today's video and want to see more videos of Warhammer Odyssey, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, before we go in and jump into the battle, let's go to the characters. Now, as of right now, in this sort of soft launch, which is more like a limited beta because there really isn't a lot of stuff to do in the game as of right now. You can only participate in the first, the first region, the first area. You're not allowed to go on to the second area, and that will probably get you to somewhere around level 13 or level 14. But as of right now, I've got myself a Dwarven Slayer. He's awesome. His name is Draff Underbeard. We are going to jump in and play this guy in just a little bit, but before we do that, let's go ahead and jump in and show you guys the character creation in the game. Because one thing I want to point out is when they initially showed the game, they only had limited genders for each of the different classes. Well, it looks like they went back to the drawing board and they have included both male and female genders for every single class in the game, which is awesome. So that shows that the developers are listening to the player base, that they are trying to improve and make the game the best that it can be. Now, I'm not going to do like a real review on the game as of right now because it is in a limited beta. A lot of stuff isn't in the game right now. Like the cash shop's not there. There's a bunch of regions not available and things like that. So do keep in mind that everything that you see right now could be changed or altered once the game does officially launch. But let's go ahead and I'll show you guys some of the customization. There isn't quite a lot of customization compared to some of the other mobile titles that we've seen, but it's decent. Like you can make a fairly unique looking character, so we can go through, add a couple different scars, eye color, we can change the hairstyles up, beard styles. So you can make a fairly decent looking guy, you know? And then you have the height and stuff. So there really isn't a whole lot to go through when it comes to like deciding on how to make your character look, but there's enough to kind of make a character that you may end up liking. So let's go ahead and show you guys the female. Maybe we'll jump in and do a shadow elf. Is this the female character? Yep. And then we'll do a couple of different randomizations. So yeah, there's enough to make a character that you may like. So all right, let's go ahead. We're gonna head back and we're gonna jump in and we're gonna play Draff Ironbeard, and I'll show you guys a little bit of the gameplay. Now, I talked about how I have a couple of concerns with the game, and there's mainly kind of two concerns that I have with it. The first one has to be with the development team. There really hasn't been a lot of information about the game, and even leading up to this supposed soft launch, which is more like a limited beta, they really didn't say a lot of stuff. They're like, hey, it's going to come out in December at some point, and they didn't give us a date, right? The other thing is they didn't tell us what region it was going to be available in. They didn't exactly tell us what kind of content was going to be available. And so I do want to let you guys know, if you're interested in playing, it looks like the limited beta is only available right now in the Philippines. And again, you can only play in Marienburg. So there's Marienburg North. This is the second kind of region you'll be in. And then Rikssport is like the first one. So there's two fairly decent sized maps to explore. Everything does look very similar though. You are going to be playing in the city. But if you want to go to the next region, this one will take you to, I believe it's Drockwald Forest is the next region. Yeah, Drockwald Forest is where I need to actually go. But unfortunately, I'm not able to go there right now because, well, they don't have this region unlocked. Now, I do want to also point out I am playing this game on BlueStacks, so on a Android emulator. But I actually ended up playing the game mainly on a mobile device. Wow, I am going to die. Okay, this guy is actually a freaking boss. I did not know that that was a boss, and I do not want to die, and I will probably die, and I've died. Oh my gosh. Okay, this leads me to actually a good point to this game, okay? Now, there is different levels of kind of difficulty on the bosses and stuff, so you'll have like different enemies that are fairly weak. You can take them out, you know, single-handedly, and then they have like medium difficulty enemies, and then they have like the 3-star skull ones. Those ones are crazy hard, which is what I just barely ended up fighting, so But this is something that I actually really enjoy about the game, is the game's actually fairly challenging even with its PvE status. There was like a lot of stuff that you initially do when you first jump into the game, and you'll have to like avoid enemies at some point, because almost every enemy in the game, if you're not careful, you can have like 2 or 3 enemies come up to you, they can take you out. And you don't really regen health that fast. And so do keep that in mind. Like, this is a game where there is challenge even to the PvE side. And I really like that. I think that's awesome. So take that guy out easy. So that's a level 9. I'm level 13. So I should be able to take a lot of these guys out. But let's go ahead and talk about the concerns again. So first of all, I am playing this on an Android emulator. So if there's like bugs or issues, it's probably because of the Android emulator. They did state that you can play it on it, it's just not supported by the development team. So do keep that in mind as well. The other concern that I have, like I was talking about with the development team behind the game, is they really haven't been communicating with their player base like at all. Like the soft launch happened, and there was no communication from the development team that soft launch had like even come out. People just kind of like randomly stumbled across it. So that's like really my biggest concern right now, is that the development team is just not communicating with the player base. They've been very quiet on like every front with this game, and it's been kind of frustrating for people that want to jump in and learn about it. And I understand maybe they want to like keep the beta very limited. They don't want, you know, a whole bunch of people jumping in at once and like potentially ruining or, you know, destroying their servers, because they want to take their time to make sure that everything's polished and stuff. But at least communicate with your players and say, hey, soft launch is now out. You can make videos, you can post it, things like that. So that's my first big concern, is the developers just not communicating with us on what's going on. We can tell that they've listened to the player base, because, you know, they've added in the genders for all of the classes, so that's great. I'm just, you know, concerned that they're not communicating back to us what's happening with the game. Okay, and then I did have one other concern with this game, and I know they're going for more of a traditional style PC-like experience rather than a mobile experience, but I feel like this is something that they could have learned from mobile games. And again, because it's in like a limited beta, this may not be the case when the game does officially launch. But as I've been playing through the game and going through all this kind of main storyline stuff and going through and doing a bunch of these things, I've kind of come to find out that it's a very linear game. And I feel like with a lot of mobile games, there's just so many activities to do. A lot of things with like mobile MMOs, even if they're auto MMOs, is they'll have like a list of things that you can do, a list of like dungeons and raids and stuff. You can just like jump in whenever you want, play them real quick, and then like you're basically like good to go, right? Like you can jump in, play something for like 10-15 minutes, and you're fine. This game, I haven't really experienced that. It's been very linear. And it's just been me going from one area to the next, a little bit slower than, you know, I've been used to in some other games. But I think that's because I've been playing a lot of mobile MMOs. But do keep in mind, like, this is limited beta. A lot of that stuff may come in later. They do have plans for dungeons and raids and things like that. So I think once those things actually do come out, we'll have a better, you know, a better experience. We'll be able to see what the game's actually about. So this is saying travel to the inn where Hensel was staying. So this is actually a side quest I decided to pick up. So there's the inn that we need to travel to. Now, another thing I do want to point out is I do kind of feel like the quests themselves aren't very rewarding, but they did state that most of the equipment that you're going to get in the game will probably come from mob drops, specifically like bosses that you're going to take down in like raids and dungeons and stuff like that. But I found that like when I'm going around and I'm fighting enemies just out and about, they do drop equipment, and sometimes it's fairly decent equipment. But the quests themselves don't really give you very good rewards. They'll give you like experience points and some currency, but they really don't give you a lot of like equipment items. So for example, this side quest is going to give me a little bit of experience and a decent amount of currency. And that's it. They don't really give you a lot of equipment. You'll probably get it every couple of levels. But do keep in mind, it's not, you know, most of it is going to be coming from mob drops and bosses and stuff, and us like teaming up. So travel to the end, retrieve the herbs from the porch. So we got to go up here and get them. There are some technical things that I've noticed as well with the game. Sometimes like the targeting is a little bit weird. Combat is a bit slower than people may be used to, but I actually think it's a good thing. Because like the combat in this game is very methodical. You do have to think about how you're going to use your abilities and stuff, when you're going to save like your supports and your heals and things like that, and when you're going to use your rage points. So do keep that in mind. I actually am liking the combat, even though it's a bit slower. But things are dangerous in this game, and I like that challenge. I like the challenge in it, and I'm really hoping that group challenges in the game are going to be really, really great. All right, let's go ahead and actually talk about... I'm going to try to get to a safe area before I end up getting killed by somebody else. But I do want to show you guys some of the character progression. Specifically, I do want to talk about the specialization in the game. Specialization. So here's your character. The equipment that you get in the game, once you equip it, it does change the look of your character, so that is a big plus for me. There are going to be lots of equipment items that will look very similar to previous stuff, but I am glad that like they do have a cosmetic change to your character. You have your basic equipment, and then you have your jewelry, your accessories that give you extra stats, and then you have your cosmetic items. Now, with the cosmetic items in the game, this may come from the cash shop, it may come from being able to use other items that you can do. For some reason, I am not able to like click on it. Oh, there we go. Wow, I finally got it to work. But here's the fashion items in the game, but I am glad that there is fashion, because that's a big thing that I want to do in this game. So, here's the equipment, and then here's your tree specialization. This is where most of your customization is going to come into play with your character's abilities. But basically, every time you level up, you get action points that you can then distribute to level up each of your abilities on this tree. When you get to level 10, you're able to choose between 2 specializations. I chose the Dragon Slayer one because I'm doing the double axes. But if you choose the other one, you're going to be going down most likely kind of the other weapon. So I have twin axes and then the great axes. So with the Dragon Slayer, I have unlocked the Whirling Destruction ability. There is a little button down here on the right. When you click on it, it swaps your will over. So you're going to probably have at most 8 abilities. But you do want to make sure you put a potion on your action bar to help that out. Let's go ahead and head back to this. Go to your character. But the abilities and the tree and stuff is very, very straightforward. You get action points, you upgrade these, and you basically just push down this tree. And that's kind of it. So yeah, fairly simple, very straightforward. And then you have your stats. The stats, you get skill points every level, and you can either auto-assign them or assign them yourself. Each of these will have different effects towards your stats. So weapon does physical damage, initiative, increase your chance to evade incoming attacks, wounds, maximum health, etc. from there. So mainly I've been just kind of auto-focusing or auto-assigning them all. And then you can see the general hit points, energy, armor, weapon damage of your character, reputation for all the different areas. There is also, I do recommend, if you guys decide to end up jumping in playing this game, when you're going around, you'll find these equipment shops. Make sure to stop in them every once in a while. They refresh, and they'll have new stuff in here that you can end up buying, which is great. Sometimes you'll get really good stuff. Sometimes you'll get stuff for other classes. We'll go ahead and say farewell. Another thing that I want to point out too, just to kind of help your guys' gameplay experience, is in each of the kind of main little hubs that you're going to go through. So like there's little quest hubs everywhere. So you have a quest hub down here, here, and you kind of move your way through. Each of the quest hubs usually has a trooper Caroman. I don't know if it's the same name for all of them. Make sure to talk to this guy. He usually has a side quest. When you talk to him and complete a side quest, it will unlock a fast travel point for you. So I do keep that in mind as well. But that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. There really isn't anything else in the game. The shop isn't open. The character stuff is pretty straightforward. There isn't any dungeons or raids for us to participate in. I'm expecting once those things do come out, that's where like a majority of the game is going to be from. But so far, it's got a good foundation, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully the developers will start talking to us a little bit more about what's actually happening behind the scenes with the game, especially as the game is getting closer and closer to launch. Thank you for that quest. But there you guys go, Warhammer Odyssey. I'm really excited to see where this game goes. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of content for us to enjoy, a lot of things that we could actually participate in. Hopefully it's not super straightforward like it's been so far, but I'm excited to see the next area. I'll have more updated videos and stuff in the future. Test out some of the other characters in the gameplay. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, again, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more Warhammer Odyssey videos. Okay, friends, I'll see you next time.